Hello, welcome back. We're going to take a look at the idea of non-duality today. It's a theme that runs throughout these videos, well, because it's a theme that runs throughout A Course in Miracles. So it's worth taking some time as we proceed item by item, section through section, and indeed paragraph by paragraph through the text of A Course in Miracles. It's worth coming back to the notion of non-duality again. This is something that piques a lot of curiosity in the spiritual realm, arena, marketplace. There are many, many people that are interested in this idea of non-duality, as there are people that are interested in miracles. And in fact, the very title, A Course in Miracles, gets people thinking. You might rightly ask, what does that mean? A Course in Miracles. I better check that out. Well, welcome. Let's spend a little bit of time here on non-duality and choice and decision, how that plays into this whole idea of non-duality. We're in the introduction of chapter 10 of the course. Chapter 10 is entitled The Idols of Sickness. So we'll get into that as we proceed, but here in the introduction, we're looking at paragraph 2 today. There are 3 paragraphs. Last video was paragraph 1. If you missed it, you can find it right here on YouTube. What is non-duality? And are there spiritual traditions? How many spiritual traditions are there in the world that touch on this? Well, very few is the answer. Very few spiritual traditions can be said to point at non-duality. Now, I say point at because non-duality here in the convention of language means not two. That's what it means, not two. It also means not 8 billion, not 8 billion, not 2, not 25, not 2. So if there is no multiplicity, there is only one, perfect oneness. A spiritual tradition that falls into this heading of non-dual posits this, that there is only perfect oneness. There is no separation of any kind. Enter this course. If you're familiar with the Hindu tradition of Advaita Vedanta, it says the same thing. Only Brahman is. All else is illusion. Same thing. And there are forms and variations of Buddhism that point to this as well. So it's not a great number of traditions that fall under this heading. So what does this actually mean? Non-duality. Well, it means there is only perfect oneness. When we say here in A Course in Miracles, God is, period. What is meant by that is that only God is. God is the all, is life, is reality. All else is illusion. There is only God. There is only perfect oneness. And There is no separation because there's only perfect oneness. There cannot be any separation. There is no separation of any kind. Here in the world where there appear to be 8 billion of us, plus countless animals and fish and insects and other forms of life, from other vertebrates all the way down to microscopic life forms and everything in between, there appears to be multiplicity. There is only perfect oneness. This is something that our mind needs to get attenuated to, trained in, hence the repetition. Hence the repetition that you see here in this course. If you're new to this material, first of all, welcome. Second of all, you'll hear the same ideas over and over. By design, this course, when you put together all 3 of the major components plus the 2 supplements, is well over 1,000 printed pages, saying more or less the same thing in every sentence. Why? It's by design. Here in the world, we don't like to admit it very often, but we're stubborn. We're stubborn creatures, are we not? We need to hear things many times and in many different ways. It may be that the 757th time that you hear the same idea will be the time that it sticks for you and it really connects, where you listen to our inner teacher and you have what we call here in the world an aha moment. Those are beautiful. Or a revelation where something hits home for you and you think, oh, yeah, that's what we're talking about. Maybe that is going to be today, and not knowing when that will come for you, I simply turn on the camera and microphone and broadcast. So when something lands, understand it is your inner teacher speaking to you. Please listen and act accordingly. Traditions that are non-dual, let's be very clear, are not superior to those who are not. They're simply different doors. All doors in spirituality, and there are many doors, there are many spiritual traditions, aren't there? They all lead to the same place. All roads, all paths lead to God in the end. Why? Only God is. So how long will this appear to take? Well, this is largely up to us. Ultimately, there is only perfect oneness. Therefore, there is no choice, and there are no concepts. There's nothing to choose between because nothing is different. So there are not 2 choices. There is no separation of any kind. Ultimately, our reality as one with God is beyond all concepts, including language, including terms like non-duality. In truth, all of our language is completely meaningless. I mean, when you think about it, it's all made up. It's a collection of sounds that we've gotten together and agreed are going to symbolize certain things that we appear to see with the body's eyes and touch with the body's sensory organs, etc., etc. It's all made up. Truth can be experienced, in other words, known. God can be known. even here in the midst of all of our day-to-day drama, even while we appear to be right here. Reality, truth, is beyond all concepts completely. It is. And this bears repetition because the mind that has chosen to believe that it is an ego, an individual, self-sustaining survival unit, human being with all of the other labels that we heap upon ourselves, such as gender, such as height, weight, such as occupation, career choice, political affiliation, civic affiliation, all of these things, nation state of origin, nation state of residence, one label after another, each and every one of them completely artificial, because we've never left our home in God. If you repeat an idea from today, besides there is no separation of any kind, and God is, repeat this one. Ideas leave not their source. This is an oft quoted passage from A Course in Miracles, which is stated in so many words in several different places here in the Course. Ideas leave not their source. So I invite you to consider yourself an idea. You're known as the thought of God. We all are. The extension of God. The Son of God. The thought of God. Ideas, thoughts, leave not their source, capital S. Where are you? Who and what are you if there's only perfect oneness? You know, I know that you know. When we deny it, which we certainly can, we'll come back to choice in a moment, we simply delay that moment when we awaken. It's delay. It's all needless, but you can choose it. Here, while we appear to be here, choice has some value to us as a learning device. Because we've fallen asleep, we're still at home in God, but we're dreaming of separation. We're dreaming of exile, as the Course puts it, of frustration, of warfare, of all of the little stuff that we obsess over in the world that's utterly meaningless because we invented it all. Out of thin air, out of nothing, it is nothing. We invented it out of thin air. So here, while it appears real and solid, things appear to be concrete objects after all. Choice is meaningful here. This Course is meaningful here. Ultimately, there's nothing to choose between, but here, while we're running around thinking we're this, choice is very meaningful indeed. Enter this Course, enter all spirituality for that matter, and enter the guidance, the practical, loving, moment-to-moment guidance of your inner teacher, the Holy Spirit. Call it whatever you want to call it. It's an it, too. By the way, we may use the masculine pronoun here in the Course, which it does. It's familiar to a lot of us to call the Holy Spirit he, him. It's not a human being. It's a part of our mind that speaks to us of who we really are. So this relationship is critical. We forgive under the guidance of our inner teacher. We extend love to our brother under the guidance of our inner teacher. So with this Course, with this material, we would do very well indeed to understand that choice is meaningful here? Well, we appear to be here, and while we're learning or unlearning, if you prefer, because spirituality is most definitely that, isn't it? It's lifting the veil, so to speak. It's clearing the cobwebs, removing barriers, walls that we ourselves have erected to our awareness of truth, to our awareness of who we are. We must choose moment to moment. There's only one choice to make. So let's simplify that here. There is only one choice, but one, not 8 billion choices, not 27,375,000 choices. It's not like going to a giant supermarket and choosing one of 674 different kinds of vegetables. It's not like that. There's one choice for us to make. And to simplify it, there are two options. One is truth, the other illusion. The thought system of the Holy Spirit or the ego's little thought system. God or the ego, light or dark, love or fear. Characterize this however you wish to characterize it in words. This is the choice we make moment to moment. You can gauge immediately in the present moment which choice you're making by how you feel. What is your mental state? Are you anxious, afraid, judgmental, blaming, and about to fly into a fit of rage? Be sure, if that's how you're feeling right now, that you've chosen to see yourself as separate from your brother, from God, as an individual. On the other hand, if you feel loving and forgiving, boundless, joyful, that's an indication that you're choosing truth, that you're choosing your own radiance and magnificence and limitlessness, that you're choosing the thought system of the Holy Spirit, which this course shows you, teaches you. Now, it's one thing, as I often say, comes up all the time. This is a very important point. It's one thing to understand these ideas with the intellectual thinking mind. It's one thing to read these passages and listen to a video like this one, listen to a teacher, any teacher for that matter, and get it, to feel like you have a grasp on what's being said. That's one thing. It's another thing entirely to do it. This is where the true learning takes place in spirituality, no matter what tradition or traditions you practice, if any. I mean, you're here because you're interested in this course. So the real learning comes in the doing, the forgiveness, the extending love to the Son of God, the connection with your inner teacher. That's where the action is in spiritual practice. It's where it all is. It's where it takes place in the mind. In our actively doing it and applying these ideas, it is through practical application that we learn. How is that so powerful? Well, it's the best way for us to learn because our experience proves that these teachings are true. It proves that these ideas, which can seem highly bizarre, such as only God is, and you might find yourself thinking, well, what about this? This here too, isn't it? There are ideas that seem outlandish to our ego-clinging minds as they've been conditioned here in the world through absolutely no fault of our own. I mean, our school systems and our parents and our relatives and friends and societies don't mean us any harm when they insist that we're individual self-sustaining survival units under this made-up heading of Homo sapiens sapiens, which is a bunch of Latin words cobbled together. It's not the Son of God. And deep down, we all know that, which is beautiful. It is. And we all know that. You're here because you're answering the call of our inner teacher. So for that, I thank you profoundly. This is the highest form of offering you could ever give anyone, anywhere, anytime. There is no close second. It is the dedication and your commitment to spiritual practice that is the single most important thing that you could ever do anywhere, anytime. There's no close second. This is what really matters. Why does it matter so much? Well, you're here. There are people that you will reach better than I will reach them, for sure. Even a video that's broadcast to a worldwide audience doesn't reach every single person all the time. There are people that you know or that you will know, and you may never actually meet them in person either. But there are people that will hear the Holy Spirit through you better than through anyone else. So keep practicing. Ultimately, there's nothing to choose. Only God is. But here, where choice appears meaningful, let's all make the choice today to connect with our inner teacher, to get in touch with our inner teacher, and to forgive and to extend love to our brother under his guidance. Its guidance, whatever you call it. Actually, you could call it many names and call it your guides. Doesn't really make any difference. What matters is that you listen to our teacher's guidance. And we're all invited to do that today, right now. So I thank you, as always, for tuning in and for joining me. And questions and comments are more than welcome. So please feel welcome to leave them here if you've got them. If you've not yet subscribed, we would love to have you join us. This is the subscription button. Go ahead and click on that and join us here. There are several videos that are posted every week. And as mentioned earlier, we're on chapter 10 of the text of A Course in Miracles. Makes no difference if you are a longtime student or if you've never picked this material up at all and you're just wondering about it. These videos are for everyone, regardless of experience level or station in life. Why? Because truth is true. It's universal. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Again, we'd love to have you subscribe if you've not yet. And we will see you all again very soon.